We haven't arrived there, but I think we are all committed to that. And more so, I think we all must be grateful to His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to have agreed to implement the UN declaration, the 10 years declaration for the campaign to increase the number of women in decision-making position across. I think we need to congratulate him. And Right Honorable Speaker, in the recent elections, I need to congratulate the youth. Everybody knows that Uganda is composed of young people. But when you look at where the young people have been placed, you find that in our placement in leadership position, we have not recognized the magnitude of the number of the youth we have in our population. So really, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to congratulate the youth that they have stood up to say, we are not going to wait for the affirmative action, we are going to fight for ourselves. The youth who are here, congratulate yourselves for taking up your space. You are also opening our eyes to try and think differently. Right Honorable Speaker, in this particular contest, I have been very restrained in taking a position, and for a very good reason. Because first of all, I'm mindful of the fact that the Right Honorable Speaker is a very close relative of mine, a very close friend, and somebody I've been so proud of seeing her achievement in the country and outside the country. I'm also mindful of the fact that the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, Jacob Olanya, is my own son, whom I brought up in politics. And I'm very proud of what he has achieved so far. So my position in this campaign has been very, very difficult. Right Honorable Speaker, I must share this with the members who are here. And therefore, I come to highlight a few issues. If you would allow me to be a devil's advocate. I've been asking this question, and I'm asking this question to you because the majority of you who are here are members of the NRM. I grew up in a political party right from the time of my youth. And I was mentored, I was modeled and remodeled in the leadership of a political party. Right Honorable Speaker, when I look at the structure of the NRM, I see that the Politburo members, if we are to borrow from the leftists or the Baath Party culture, we find that the members of the Politburo, the top 7, the top 5, in your case, the top 3, are the kind of the core leadership that cannot just be messed around with. And that's why I found it difficult. NRM is shy to front somebody to stand against President Museveni. Why? Because you respect the principle of that respect and the supremacy of the party. And I was very, very praiseful because I'm very sensitive about the manner parties are run. And I think I can stand up for anybody to see and say, show me one person in Uganda who knows more about the running of political parties better than me. I don't see any. So I know what it means. The supremacy of the party when it comes to governance cannot be ignored. And therefore, the respect that you accord to the top leadership is a mirror of how serious you are in supporting the policies of that party in the governance of the country. And therefore, I observed the management and the supervision and whatnot of the SEC elections. And I was very impressed that the NRM unanimously agreed, let us not put anybody to touch our old man. He may have his weaknesses, but he has done his best. I think that was your consensus, and I thank you for it. That's what I would have done to my own leader, the late Milton Obote. Now, when it came to the vice chair, the male, he was protected, because again, it would have exposed what things which should not have been exposed. And I had expected the same thing to happen with the female vice chair. I don't know whether they did, but I did not see it. So the question I'm asking is, was it done deliberately that the vice president or the vice chair of SEC or of the NRM was protected from any kind of contest? And the reason you know, because in a contest, people talk anything. Would you like your top leadership to be undressed? Would you like your mother or your father to be undressed and you see their nakedness? The Bible tells me when you see the nakedness of your father or your mother, you earn a curse. You can read your Bible backwards. Yes. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I keep asking myself whether the NRM looked at that matter with seriousness. But I saw, as an outsider, that in the same way that the chair of the party was protected, the vice chair for the male was protected, the vice chair of the female ought to have been protected. But we also thank God that you, the members of NRM, saw that supremacy, and you are to protect the leadership vested in a female. And all of you, male and female, you protected the leadership of that female vice chair. And therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to congratulate you in a special way that you are able to prove to the NRM that you are not just ushered in there or pushed in there because you are a woman. You were voted in there, and you were not voted in by women. You were voted in by men and women. And also, Right Honorable Speaker, you went through with a lot of difficulties because there were so many forces that you had to go through. But thanks be to God. Only God knows why you went through that storm. I don't know, because I'm an outsider. That's why I would prefer to speak as the devil's advocate. Because I'm outsider. I don't support NRM. And I'm never shy to say, if you are looking for an authentic opposition, I'm here. Because from day one when NRM came, I said, I don't want. Yes. And I've remained, I don't want. But all these other leaders now of the opposition, all of them were either cadres or they held top position in the NRM, but because they disagree somewhere, whether at the high table or what, I don't know, they have now joined us and they are now speaking the way I used to speak. So, Right Honorable Speaker, let the truth be told. I'm not ashamed if my husband brings a child home and said, I'm sorry, through accident I got a child. You have to accept that child. And that's the best way of reconciling. So these are the truths and facts which are matters for NRM to consider. And that's why I'm saying, what is NRM saying about this contest? And you cannot underrate Jacob Olanya either, He has now also entered SEC. He may not be a member of the Politburo, but he's a member of SEC. So the NRM should be telling us, what is it that they want? Now, some of the campaigners have become dirty in their language. And I've warned some people here and there, please, don't touch the person of Rebecca Kadaga. You can talk about our policies and the practices, but don't talk about the person of Rebecca Kadaga. Don't talk about the person of Jacob Olanya. Because whether you like it or not, he's already a leader. And you, the members of NRM, are the ones who have put him there. So now, members of NRM, take care of what is happening in your own home. Something is going on there, which you need to sort out. That is my first comment, Right Honorable Speaker. So therefore, I want to plead with members that when you are campaigning for the candidate, Rebecca Kadaga, let us be mindful of the language we use. Let us be mindful of the fact that if you hit Kadaga in the wrong spot, you also touch me. If you abuse her of being a female or whatever it is, you attack me as well. If you abuse or if you talk about Olanya in the wrong way, you are attacking me because I'm his mother. So we have to be very mindful in the way we conduct ourselves in the campaign. That's my first comment. My second comment, Right Honorable Speaker, is about our analysis of the political events or the political environment. You all know, and you know, for me, I'm not a mathematician, but God has blessed me in that sector. Some of you I relate with closely know that. I'm very mathematical in my thinking. I always like to put 2 and 2 together, then 3, 4, 5, and so on. Arrive at an answer very quickly, even before my teachers. Now, I have looked at the environment, and I've said, why are people subjecting Uganda to this campaign? Why? Because the constitution which is now guiding all these activities, political activities, has clearly stated, I was there, and Nifa Kawoya was there. I don't know whether there are any other. And for me, that was my core area. It was clearly stated that a third of any composition must be women. A third. You are right. Without pleading, without kneeling down, without begging, it's a third. You don't need to beg. It's a constitutional command. So if there are 3 pillars of state, please listen carefully. If there are 3 pillars of state, which is driving the governance of this country, you have the executive. It's already occupied by the male. The vice is already a male. You look at the judiciary. The Chief Justice is already a male. The vice is a male. We are left with the legislature. And so, if now you put a male there, what are you going? Are you just going to say it's okay? It's a democratic choice? Because they say a constitution is a constitution. You cannot do what? Breach it. I'm not a lawyer, but I have a son who's a lawyer. Abdul Katuntu is there. I've always sometimes called him out of order. I said, some of us who have not gone to law school, we know law better than you. But I can assure you, if now the legislature is taken, how do you handle the constitutional command? Please, I'm leaving it to you. To Right Honorable Speaker, I've already told you that I'm just an outsider, and I've decided to be a devil's advocate, although I've not seen the face of the devil. Madam Speaker, the last 2 elections, I was involved. a front runner in your campaign for very good reasons. And some of you want to distort history. They say, oh, the ninth parliament, whatever happened. No. My own brother, Amama Mbabazi, found me in our office. She was then deputy speaker. And I said, I'm going to move that Right Honorable Kadaga be the speaker. And I want you to be the one to oppose me. So then he said, no, I've come here to say, don't move that motion. We have heard you are going to do it. Don't move it. I am going to do it myself. So let me tell you, women have to know where the rights are. And if you don't do it, who is going to do it for you? Please. The men can only help you. But if the person you are trying to help is not interested, what do I do? So, Right Honorable Speaker, the women should not let the women cause down. We should know what we want and we should go for it. I have just one more point. And that point I'm coming with, I don't think any of you would come out with it. Yes, I've requested formally, and nobody opposed it by motion. Right Honorable Speaker, I mentioned this before, but let me say it. It is only Uganda that has been applauded highly for having declined to approve the budget because the budget for maternal health was not properly catered for. It's only Uganda. And in many international fora, Uganda has been praised for that. Now, why did you do that? Why did Uganda Parliament do that? Because you happen to have had a mother that's very important for us who are mothers. Again, on the gender, the Constitution compels Parliament to have a third of the leadership in Parliament to be women. But because we have the leader who happens to be also a woman, so they said, no, we have left a third, now we are moving to 40%. And we made sure we entrench it in our rules. So the rules of Parliament now compels Parliament to leave women that space of 40% in the leadership in the Parliament of Uganda. Chairman, vice chairman, name it. So that one you can associate it to your candidate, and for which we want to thank her. Right Honorable Speaker, when I came to this Parliament, Parliament was being condemned. People were dying, and they would condemn Parliament. What is the point of serving as a member of Parliament if you don't care about this? Right Honorable Speaker, Uganda, not necessarily members of Parliament, should applaud you for coming up with that health medical scheme for the members of Parliament, so that every member of Parliament is taken care of, including the family. That is something which is unique. Wherever I've gone, people have praised Uganda for that provision in our welfare. And Right Honorable Speaker, I think the one which has been very, very revolutionary is when you decided that women should not be looked down upon because they are active in the reproductive system. And you know, this one is natural. You cannot delay it. And for us women, if you delay your reproductive system, by the time you now want to produce children, you have already reached the off-layer stage. So you can now not lay the eggs. And therefore, for you to decide that you continue having your babies, I will provide daycare for you. Who else has done that? Tell me which parliament, even in the region, the East African region, which has it? It is only in Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker. Now, the last I want to end with, which probably the Speaker was shy to mention. Many people are saying the Speaker likes to be praised I have associated with my sister here. There are many times I have clashed with her. Open. But the one thing is, she will clash with you now, and she has forgotten. She moves on. And that is a unique character. She doesn't hold anything at heart. And you know it. Some of you say RAKIPS, which is the Institute of Parliamentary Studies. Kadaga is the one who insisted must be named in, they must put her name there just to publicize herself and praise herself. Members, I want you to know this. I was the mover of that private members' bill. By the time members of parliament held a special sitting to thank God that healed the speaker and brought her back to parliament. By that time, the bill was already before parliament. We were already processing the bill, and it was now moving to the second reading, which you'll get to know later. So now the name of Rebecca Kadaga came after the bill was already moved. And when you look at that bill, it is IPS Act, but it's the institute which is labeled Rebecca Aletwala Kadaga. So for anybody to think Rebecca Kadaga woke up in the morning and said, no, I must have an institute which glorifies me as the speaker, that's not true. If anything had to be done, let me tell you from my own personal perspective, we would have built a monument in that square. Is it Parliamentary Square? After the IPU. Because IPU praised the standard that Uganda displayed in the management of the IPU conference. And why? Recently, Right Honorable Speaker, September 2019, the CPC conference has raised the level of Uganda very high. And again, they have told us that nobody has been able to reach that barometer. So really, so I would have just said, I don't have to wait until you are in the coffin and you said, you know, Kadaga worked so hard, why don't we put something? Why wait until somebody is in the coffin? But it's the members of parliament who passed a resolution. Rebecca Kadaga was not part of it, it was you. And nobody stood up to oppose that motion because I was the mover of that bill. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to end here and ask my members to pray and exercise your faith in whatever you're doing. As for me, I believe God's will always be done. It doesn't matter what our will is, but the will of God will always be done. May God bless you.